Hey, it's a beautiful day. Welcome back to MB2 Underground. I am Sarah Kiefer, aka Keefster.
And I'm Joe Fox, Vice President of Business Development here at MB2. Miss Kiefer, looking stellar as always, my friend.
Oh, I know. Thank you.
Good to see you. It is my absolute honor to introduce the pride of Garland, Texas, aka the Corvette King of Garland, Texas. Also the first partner and spouse that I met at the 2021 Owners Retreat in Cabo, Dr. Thomas Reed. Welcome, my friend.
Well, Joe, thank you. Actually, it's Tommy, and we'll just go from there. So,
so that's Dr. Tommy Reed to you.
There you go. Hey, it's an honor and a privilege to be here today. Thanks for the invitation to come.
Awesome, absolutely. So give us a little bit more background on the Corvettes. You've been a collector for a long time, or what's the story?
Been a fan for a long time. Yeah. My wife's father restored a 59 Corvette,
wow,
and he was going to part with it, and we decided it needed to stay in the family. So he said, well, this is what I'm going to ask for it. And we said, we'll pay that and put it on layaway, gave him some funds for over about 3 years. And wow, he delivered it finally about 7 or 8 years ago, and that was our first Corvette. So
wow,
it's now in the family. 1959. So.
1959. Now you're a collector. And the first Corvette was in the 50s,
in
right?
the 50s. Something 52, like I believe.
Yeah,
like that.
I knew that too.
Yeah.
No, I have this core memory. Whenever Dr. Reed was joining MB2, we went out to the practice to do on-site diligence. Drive up, he's got his Corvette parked in front of the practice, and he's out there doing his own landscaping. And I'm like, wow, this is the most
hands-on,
blue-collar, bougie thing I've ever seen in my life.
About that.
That about sums him up.
Yep. I'm not afraid to tackle anything. So
no.
Dig in, do plumbing, landscaping. It's part of the job.
Jack of all trades.
Well, not jack of all trades, master of none for sure. So I can tell you that.
I love it. So how did you get into dentistry?
Decided back in middle school. I had a really
middle school
cool family dentist, super sweet person. I just admired and respected him. It was fun to go to the dentist. He made it fun, and it looked like something that, well, you don't choose your career typically that early, but it looked like, hey, I could do this.
Are you serious? Way back when in middle school?
Yep.
How cool.
Wrote a paper about it freshman in high school and just started taking science classes. And next thing you know, I'm still in science classes and go to went to Stephen F. Austin State University and still in science classes and said, well, this looks like where it's going. So,
SFA Lumberjacks, is that
Lumberjacks.
Right? He always does all the call-outs for the colleges. I went there to do a tour before I went to college, and I didn't go there because there were so many bees.
Mm-hmm. It's outdoorsy.
There's so many bees.
It's outdoorsy.
And you just decided to become a bobcat instead, huh?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. One of my daughters is a bobcat, and son-in-law's a bobcat. So I think we're well represented there. Fine school. That. Beautiful campus. Beautiful campus.
Absolutely.
How cool.
Sorry I cut you off. You went to SFA?
Okay. That's okay. SFA, went to Baylor College of Dentistry right after that, and it seemed like it was just a pathway. I just really never veered off it. I remember when I graduated from college, it was like it was a non-event because it wasn't over.
Yep.
It was
you knew what you're doing.
Yeah. It's not. We start school in 2 weeks, so that's what we're going to do. So I remember being at graduation, the family's there, rah-rah, and everybody's rah-rah, and I'm going, okay.
Still got work to do here.
Yeah, I got work to do.
Well, and I know you really wanted to end up in the Garland area. Tell us about how you built and established your practice out there.
Well, it was a goal, and it was a dream to come back home. I loved where I lived. I had good friends there, went to church there, and I associated when I came back. Matter of fact, I had 3 associateships, and worked for 3 different docs because I wanted to be busy. I needed to be busy. I had a wife, I had a house, I had a kid, and I had student loans.
Wow.
So, it's what I had to do. And I'd get a call, be at one practice. And so, had a very successful practice, but it didn't always start out that way. I mean, I'd get a call from a friend. They'd say, well, what are you doing? A classmate or something from dental school. And I'd say, well, I'm between patients, the one I saw yesterday and the one I'm seeing tomorrow. It's kind of the way it went. But it grew, and I ended up buying one of the practices where I associated. And it was a little building. I thought this was a neat little practice, and worked out a way for him to assume it. And unfortunately, he was going to be the senior dentist, and I was going to be his associate for some time. It just looked like that's what we were going to do. And he had a brain tumor and had to quit practice, and went blind in one eye, actually, from the brain tumor. And it was like one day he was there, and the next day I'm running the show.
Wow.
So
trial by fire.
Mm-hmm. And that's the way it went. And I had five staff members, 2 hygienists that were, he had the majority of the practice by that time. And Simply just started growing, and 2 hygienists and front desk and 2 assistants I was working, and that's just kind of the way it went.
Unreal. So how did you meet? How were you introduced to MB2? It was Dr. Bratcher, right, that introduced us?
Dr. Bratcher I knew from the Academy of General Dentistry. We were friends, and actually I think I picked up one of the pamphlets and just made a phone call, and Dr. Bratcher was the one that really helped me define my decision, because I had looked at a lot of opportunities, and thank the Lord for Dr. Bratcher.
I was going to say, what made you choose MB2, or not even what made you choose MB2? What made you start looking at partnerships?
Well, I had been in practice at that point 35 years, and I knew that I wanted to spend. Grandkids were coming and certain things, and I wanted. And when I heard the model, when I heard about the partnership, I thought, well, what's a partnership? I mean, these DSOs out there, they've kind of got a bad name, and I'm not sure I want to be a part of that. And so looked around and looked at several. But when you think about a partnership, you kind of think, well, what is a partnership? A marriage is a partnership. You've got to have trust, and you've got to have confidence, and you've got to have mutual respect. Well, I kind of started thinking, well, that's what this is. This is really something that I think that it's unlike anything I'd looked at. It was like, okay, so they're going to they're going to manage my payroll. I don't like doing that anymore. I've done it, run that for a long time, and I don't have to, I don't have to pay my health insurance like I was paying it at real high expensive. I mean, there were a lot of things that just, hey, this thing's coming together. So
yeah, and you have a really tenured team. How was the integration process for you and for them? And you can be honest. I know I did your integration, so I know it was amazing. But how was it for you and your team?
Well, because you know this and you've done several of them, I did not tell my team what my plans were. I think, that's kind of the way we're supposed to do it. And I don't know that there's a written rule anywhere, but, everybody has trepidation about any kind of change. We're all creatures of habit. But, it's something that I was comfortable with, I was confident about. And so when we told them, there's this look around the room. At the time, I think I had 10 team members, and it's like, oh, the sky's falling or something. Nobody knows what to expect. But the integration went very well, thanks to you. And I look back, and it was really just like it just continued. And obviously, systems were put in place that were unfamiliar. We didn't clear our checks the way we did them and streamline certain operations. But looking back on it, it really, really went well.
Yeah. How long did it take for some of those little kinks to kind of work themselves out?
Well, they say the honeymoon period's about 90 days or something like that. It seemed like it was just quicker than that. Yeah. I mean, we really just kept doing what we were doing. I just wasn't doing payroll every 2 weeks, sitting down at my personal computer and that sort of thing, and it freed up time that I was all of a sudden I go, well, I don't have to do that anymore, and that was joy.
I bet more time for the Corvette.
More time for the Corvette.
That's what you all need.
More time for the grandkids.
Right.
So.
What do you feel the key is to success for your practice? I mean, you're running a multi-generational fee-for-service practice in G-Town.
I think the key is having colleagues like other partners. I know that I can get on the platform Cerebro. I can post something. I can call any. It's funny, in dentistry, we're like, and I remember this distinctly, and even up until almost the time I partnered, it's like, you can't talk about your secrets. You can't talk about what is it's like we're all holding it's like a poker game. Yep. And if you have a colleague that practices across town and they're, I don't want him to know that. So you're holding your cards close to it's not like that with MB2. I can call anyone. I'm not ashamed to ask a question. That streamlines things a lot. That makes things really, really gel. And that's the biggest thing is the feeling that you've got support, which I never had. If I had a legal question, who am I going to call? Yep. If I have a HIPAA breach or something, who am I going to call? Now we try to prevent those and be proactive as opposed to being reactive. But you're out there alone, and you're not alone with MB2. You don't have that feeling. You have the feeling that you've got people behind you, a depth of people behind you. So.
You're not on an island anymore. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How have you seen dentistry change in the last 35 years?
Well, I see it changing in that it would be very difficult now for someone to come out and do what I did. Mm-hmm. The student loan debt, the startup costs. Yeah. I was very fortunate in that I had an opportunity. Someone made it easy, much easier for me. I have the same circumstances, I feel like it was very inexpensive to go to dental school 30, 35, 38 years ago, much less expensive. Equipment was less expensive. There are a lot of things that are different now. And I was very fortunate. I was very blessed at that time to have an opportunity. But I don't see those opportunities availing themselves now like they were.
Yeah, so it's changing. It's changing quickly. Like, the younger generation has a different opportunity, but also much more unique challenges.
For sure.
So, yeah,
for sure.
How do you see that changing in the future? Do you continuing to?
Well, I see you've got to practice smarter. You've got the integration. MB2 is it's been said. It almost sounds cliche anymore, but MB2 is not an aggregator. They're an integrator, and the integration, and particularly the vertical integration that we have, and that we have an opportunity to be a part of, is just what Dr. V has put together is really mind blowing. I mean, systems, and I was naive. I certainly didn't. We ran a tight ship. We had great people. It took 35 years, I think, almost to put a team together that I was proud of. Like that poker game again, you kind of you have 5 cards in your hand, you throw one out, or sometimes you throw all 5 of them out, But I couldn't do it without my team. And I think that that's paramount, because I've got great people. And that's why I still want to be there, because I know their families. I realize that if I was not there, that maybe nobody'd miss me. I don't know. But I do know that it's the best people. I have the best people in place in my office that I've ever had, ever. So
yeah, I like how you cultivated the culture. How do you maintain it?
Well, keep doing things like we go on a cruise together. I pay for the team members and their spouses to go on a cruise. Last February, we drove down to Galveston as a group, and we do things together. We go out to eat together, but we all drove down in a caravan to Galveston, spent the night, got on a cruise ship, Royal Caribbean, and some of us do excursions together, some of us don't. But it's a culture of like-minded. We work hard and we play hard, and I think I had someone ask me this week, "Where are we going on our next cruise? Where are we going?" Well, I don't know.
That's how you keep an assistant for. How long has Sherry been your assistant?
My dental assistant's been with me. Her name is Sherry. She's been with me 31 years.
Wow,
she came to me when she was 23 and I was 27. It's been a ride.
That's almost as long as I've been alive. You've been working with the same assistant.
She's my right hand. She'd have been a wonderful dentist. I can only speak countless volumes of kudos to her. Wow. She's pretty awesome.
And how was the transition for her specifically, right? It just seamless.
I've asked her that question, Joe, and quite truthfully, she just thinks it's just been good. I think it's been great. They have health insurance, which is just one of the attributes that MB2 offers. I was, not really in a position to offer it to all the team members, because you offer it to one, you've got to, and it was a practice expense that I just simply did not choose. Most of everyone had insurance benefits from their spouse, so it really wasn't a real issue. But now some of those same people are divorced and single moms and whatnot, and it's certainly a benefit that they see, and they realize and they appreciate it.
And you partnered in 2021, correct?
Correct. I've been a partner for almost 3 years.
Tell us about how you managed COVID times in 2020.
It was tough. Of course, I partnered after most of that was over. We were shut down for 7 weeks, mandated by the government. Like, we're not essential. I kind of thought we were, but
you are.
I think dentists are pretty essential.
The governor thought we weren't, but we navigated that, and we came back to life, and just never really missed a beat after that. Wow. It's fortunate, due to a very strong team.
Yeah,
it's the only way to get through something like that. So one of the fun questions we like to ask is, what is your craziest? You've been practicing for 35 years. What is the craziest patient story you've ever had?
Well, that's a tough one. I can think of one in particular. Back in the day, I treated back in the day, if you could sign your name, you had a pulse, and you had a toothache, you were a patient. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it was. I treated a lot of kids back then. I mean, come one, come all. I don't see as many youngsters. I mean, the practice is a more mature practice, but I can remember one day I had a little young man of probably 7 or 8 years old, and I did a lot of pediatric dentistry back then, and never saw it coming, but as typical can happen, get nervous stomach, and all of a sudden he raised up, and he just, it was like, you just can't believe. And he rose up and he said, he
threw up, right? Is that what we're saying?
It's what?
He threw up.
Yes.
Okay.
Over.
Yeah.
I was just making sure. I don't want to leave it open for interpretation.
Massive. And so you can imagine, it's all over me, it's all over him. And he said, I think I ate peach cobbler. And I said, you think? There was no doubt. But anyway, I have never forgotten that. It was, something
poor
happened
kid.
years ago, but that poor kid, and you could tell he was embarrassed, but, you can't handle a nervous stomach. You can't help it. So
Did he stay a patient?
he stayed a patient, yeah.
It's like all these years later, he's in his 30s, married with kids.
Married to kids. Yeah, he probably does. It probably happened to him a couple of times, too.
Well, and over the last couple of years, you've been to plenty of MB2 owner events, owners trips, MB2 and chills. What's your favorite or craziest MB2 event memory?
Wow. I don't know. There were so many great doctors partners coming together. I don't know that it was a craziest one, but just being around the swimming pool. I think our last one was in Marco Island, and just being able to hang out and know that it's almost like a brotherhood and a sisterhood. You got people. What'd you do about this, or what'd you hear when they were going to do this, or is the company culture or what you thought. Just being able to talk candidly and openly and honestly with people that are your equal, and it's growing. And I know that, at the time, I think, Sarah, it was like 300 practices maybe now. It's doubled.
Yeah, over 700 now.
But it's a culture, and MB2 is, y'all know this, and I didn't know it at the time. I just kind of thought I just came aboard. But being so selective in the caliber of practices that they select. And there again, I was humbled to find out that I guess that I'd been asked to join the team. But it's just been that. It's just been real candid, the ability to just express your feelings about something and know that it's probably going to be accepted. You've got an opinion, and I still feel like I have a lot to contribute. I feel like that I've certainly made a lot of mistakes over the years, but we've had some home runs too, and gotten on base a lot. But I can certainly feel like I have some things to offer to the younger docs that I guess, I'm kind of the gray hair in the room. I don't know, but I love what I do. It's afforded me the option to have a more peaceful practice, and when you're at peace and when you love what you do, you just keep doing it. And I hope the good Lord lets me do it for a while, because I'm now working 3 days a week in the practice. There are two associates in the practice, and it's a pretty good work schedule,
Absolutely.
But if I didn't want to be there, I wouldn't be there. Yeah. I can assure you that, and I think it would resonate in my persona and be all over my face if I didn't like being there.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think it was one of the last MB2 and chills. They do like happy hour the night before. The next day, they came to MB2, and I went to the hotel everybody was staying at to help make sure everybody got into the Ubers. And so Dr. Reed had been there the night before, and so I'm like, okay, the Ubers are coming. I had like 5 or 6 people. I'm riding with Tommy Reed. I told Tommy Reed last night I was riding with him. Tommy Reed said he's driving, so I'm getting in his car. I was like, man, he's been here 15 minutes, and he's got 50 friends.
I'm flattered.
The homecoming king.
I'm flattered.
But that culture, man, that culture.
It's a fun culture. We work hard, but we do things that at the end of the day, we do fun things. And like I said, that's the way it is at the office. And we've gone to, happy hours after work, and it's just like, jump in the car and let's go. It's just, we still want to be together even after hitting it pretty hard. And we kind of call those staff meetings. So, right, for sure.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years as a clinician, as a man,
Well, I'm a grandfather 4 times over. I see myself doing that, and this has afforded me the opportunity to do much more of that. And we took one of the granddaughters on a cruise in January. Wow. I can be out of the office and know that it's covered well. The 2 associates there are very competent practitioners, and they're really good at what they do, their craft. And I just know that I can be away, and it's more like I'm a business owner rather than a man who runs a business. That it's left in good hands, and the people that are there are well taken care of. But I wouldn't leave if I didn't feel that way.
Yeah, the balance has probably kept you in the chair longer.
I think so. And your question was 5 years. I mean, I've got probably a 5-year outlook on this. I don't know. I still think there's stuff left to do.
Awesome. So, are we going to see you and Miss Shelley in June at the owners trip? Or?
We're going to be in San Diego in June. Awesome. Flights are booked.
Awesome.
Yeah, not October.
Nope. Had to move that. So anyway.
It's like to see you.
Great.
Yeah.
It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it, as always.
I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you.
Seriously, really appreciate it, Dr. Reed.
Okay,
thank you.
You bet.
Right. First, for you listeners, thank you for joining us, the MB2 Underground podcast. We will catch you next time.
Power to the partners.